Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. And I'm here with the very, very talented Maya with her fantastic documentary, Black Women Should Never Humble Themselves. Let's take a look at the clip.
Until I decided to break off an engagement, go talk to a doctor and get healthy physically and mentally, I uncovered that I probably should wake up at a decent hour and have some type of routine and drink water in the morning, and those things would be considered normal. But staying in the bed for 24 hours is not normal, and it took 16 years to figure that out.
Maya, I'm delighted to be with you in person doing this, and I just want to say a big thank you for bringing your fantastic documentary to New Filmmakers LA. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you too.
Yeah, and I mean, this documentary is really brilliant. I'm obsessed with the people that are in it and the story that you told. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah. So during the events of 2020, my friend Ray, she's in the gray dress in the doc, and she was just going through her Instagram stories, and like when your friends have like 30 Instagram stories and you just see so many.
Yeah.
But hers were really inspiring and really good, and I just always would go look forward to watching her Instagram stories just because a lot of Black people, and especially Black women, were getting a lot of text messages from allies, just like, how can I be an ally? Can I show up? How do I show up for you? And in taking all that in and then also processing your own emotions too is just a lot.
Yeah.
And I watched an episode of Blackish where the youngest daughter, played by Marsai Martin, she's getting her hair done, and in the episode they just have actual Black women in their 40s and 30s just talking about going to the salon just direct to camera. And it was just really cool because so many times I think you hear Black women narratives but not from us. It's from right, oh my God, I can't talk right now.
No, it's okay. No.
White writers.
Yeah.
Or it's from Black men or people who aren't us.
Yeah.
But it was just so refreshing to hear our stories from us.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, mental health, and I wanted it to come out in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And I was like, it would just be really refreshing to hear what we have to say about our own mental health, because mental health in the Black community is so stigmatized. I feel like it's getting better with our generation, but that's where I got the concept from, just wanting to just hear from my friends and my family about what we're going through from us.
You know, it's interesting because I said on the stage yesterday, I said how I love how raw it was. And you know why as well, what's amazing is because you are the person leading your subjects, and that there's such an element of trust because you're really understanding and feeling, which is why the right people should be representing the storytelling of that community or that subject. So it was so wonderful to watch, and clearly they felt comfortable with you because actually you can empathize and sympathize with what everyone's going through, which is how it should be in filmmaking anyway, right? But I just want to say, working with your subjects and obviously your friends as well, how did you as a director sort of come to say, listen, I really want to make a documentary about this, and how does that work for you as a director when you obviously because you want them to trust the process, and they've got to be very open and honest about something that's very personal too.
Yeah. That was kind of hard.
Yeah.
My friend Ray, when I was just talking to her, she started crying.
Oh.
And we're like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But now we're even better friends. Because
Yeah.
Before she was a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
And then after going through that, and then in the background you see her art and just her talking about her experiences, we left and we're both crying and hugging each other, and I was like, thank you so much for sharing. And then my cousin, she's in the Orange, and we're in her condo, and I was
Beautiful condo, by the way. Oh my gosh, we've all talked about it.
Yeah, and I was like, well, she wasn't in it at first, but I was like, it'd be kind of weird for us to be shooting this in her house and then not ask her. I didn't think she'd be interested.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, I have a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
And then so that we hang out every weekend. She's one of my best friends, so the trust just comes naturally from her. And then my friend Kay, we work together at the Apple store. And anyone who's ever worked at Apple, the customers can be crazy and insane.
Yes.
And you just bond with your coworkers naturally just because of that. And then also experiencing microaggressions together, just being in Santa Monica and like the crowd, and then even from managers, like we would always get called like each other's names, even though we look nothing like each other.
Oh my God.
And so like the bonding just happened naturally.
Yeah.
And she like was very funny, but also very more open than I've ever seen her be. So I think just it happened naturally just because of the relationships, and then also like the video is 14 minutes, but I think we had over like 4 hours of just talking.
That must have been hard to edit then.
It was. Like I originally said I wanted it to be 5 minutes, and then my friend who edited it, he's like,
nope.
he's like, it's 15 minutes right now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me just watch it so I can tell you what to cut. And then I was like, okay, yeah, we're not cutting any of this. And like, I think even adding stuff back in that like got laughs yesterday or got people like going like, yes, yes. So I was like, okay, cool.
I mean, listen, speaking of your audience as well, I mean, it was so, you know, your film needs to be on a big screen and it needs an audience, you know, whether to empathize or whether to be educated. And it was so wonderful to see your film yesterday. I was, you know, watching it and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm so glad there's an audience there. And for you personally, I mean, it must be nice to have an audience watching your film as it should have been, because it's been such a crazy couple of years. But like, with that all being said, what did you want your audience to take from this film?
I think I just wanted people to feel heard, like for other Black women to feel heard. My friend Ray, her best friend is Jackie Aina, who's like a huge like YouTube and influencer, and probably one of like the most famous like dark skinned beauty influencers, and I've been following her for like 11 years now. Wow. Even before I met Ray, and then she was like, that's my best friend. I was like, wait, what? And then when the video came out on Instagram, Jackie, she just shared it. Like, she didn't say anything, she just shared it.
That's so wonderful.
So, it went from 200 views, which I was like, yes, 200 people.
I love it.
And then she shared it, and it got 22,000. I was like, oh my, what is happening right now?
The power of influence.
Yes, and like and she didn't have to do that.
No.
Like, she didn't have to. And constantly, like with the people resharing it too, and then adding like what they felt about it. And I was like, people are just being nice. My brother's like, people aren't nice on the internet.
No.
He's like, it's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, and then that's what made me, it was just like, oh, like we tapped into something.
Yeah.
And like people feel heard.
Yeah.
So I think just like with empathy, like leading with empathy, and then also just wanting to give a voice for people and like the way I can. Because like, I think that's also like the really cool thing. Like you have like Issa Rae and Michaela Cole and so many other, and like Quinta with like Abbott Elementary, you have so many Black women, and I don't think it's a coincidence that they're all created their own show.
Right.
And they're all so different shows, but I relate to each one of them in the same way.
Yeah.
And so it's just cool to think like who's watching that and like would maybe want to try doing that themselves too.
Absolutely. But I mean, respectfully, it was the right person to lead this story as a director. I mean, you know, and that's why you got such a beautiful documentary, because there's an element of trust and understanding with each other. And like, it's not complicated. People should be representing, you know, whatever subject that it is, they should be representing that, being part of that community, you know, it's really important. But I just, honestly, I want to say a big thank you to all of your subjects for being so vulnerable, you know, putting that out to the world. I just want to ask a question, like, did you kind of learn things as you were going through? Like, were you surprised in certain things and stories that you heard? Like, how is that for you as a director when you're uncovering, you know, your subjects, they're telling you things? I mean, surely you probably went on the journey yourself, just hearing these stories and learning from each other, right? Yeah.
What did I learn from
it?
Like,
you know, even just kind of work, because, you know, you don't, as you say, you had 4 hours of footage, you never know what you're going to get. But did you kind of, were you surprised in the process? And maybe what did you kind of learn from this particular project?
I think I learned, like kind of what I said, like leading with empathy. I think it can be very exploitive in a way, with like questions that like you could be asking, or like ways or directions that you want to go into talking about stuff. And like also, like as being a director, I'm also like an actor, and I performed improv for about 10 years and have been in situations with racist teachers or like people on your improv team who like want to get some reaction from you but aren't going about it in the way that you even feel comfortable. So I think that was the most like, and you can't fake that.
No.
Like, you can't fake someone being comfortable. And like, for me, if I'm not comfortable in a situation, my body just shuts down.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to talk. So
Yeah.
I think going about it in a way of just like, oh, we need to just feel comfortable, and like, they just need to trust me.
Yeah.
Like, before improv and even before filmmaking. And I love so much how people have been talking about how filmmaking is such like a team sport.
Yeah.
I played basketball for about like 20 years and like coached it, and people, like, I love being a part of a team, and my mom was my coach, and she would
Oh, wow.
always make us like have sleepovers and like go rollerblading together, and like just because like that chemistry. And I'm it's so cool to like realize that it's all goes back to that, to like
Yeah.
being just wanting to just the best for like the team.
Yeah.
But also like you can't fake that because people feel that.
Maya, I want to be on your set. I want to be on your wonderful team. Oh my God, I love it. Honestly,
do too.
really, really fantastic. And it's, you know, I'm so glad that, you know, you're leading the way because, you know, it is a team, and, you know, and you take that with so much respect, and I love that. So what is next for you? What is next on the horizon? What are we working on?
Well, I have a business called the Three Lines Collective, which we teach improv and like creative writing in marginalized communities. And we've also developed books, like improv games that are also coloring books. And then a therapist that I've been working with, we just created a teen self-help book. And in it, we put in like a graphic novel about a teenager named Alexander whose parents are getting divorced and just how he's feeling about it. And that was something that like I really liked the graphic novel part, and like it like inspired me to want to write like one like in full form, because the one in the book is only like 3 pages. So I really want to do one from like a Black girl's perspective.
Amazing.
Kind of like in a horror genre. Like I was really inspired by like the Fear Street movies on Netflix, and like I just really love the idea of like how they put just like the villain or like whatever you're fighting is like an actual form. So it'll be about a girl who's having to literally fight her generational curses. And it's been, I just started writing it, but it's been really fun. And then a short film that like I'm realizing that like I just need to write, because like I've had the idea for about 3 years now, and it's just about being disciplined and just getting it out.
I'm ready for it all. All right, we're ready for it all at New Filmmakers LA. Thank you so much. Just to finally close on with your experience, I think honestly, I think there's certain people that just have also such great gravitas of just being so educational and supporting others. Is there any kind of piece of advice that you could give to anybody that'd like to follow in your footsteps out there that you've learned as a director, as a creative person, that you could share with our audience?
I really love this story that Eddie Murphy told about how like when he was performing stand-up when he was a teenager, and like one of his heroes saw his set and like told him he was too dirty or like wasn't good, or just like it wasn't for him. And then he said like 5 years later he came back and he's like, hey, who knew? And he was just like, I did. So and then he talked about how like the best advice is to not take any. And I think that like creative people, like we're stubborn, and like we know what we're gonna do, and there's so much bad advice. Like not everyone has bad intentions, but so much advice that like I'm really happy I never took, because like it wouldn't have ended up the way it did, or like those lessons that you you learned, you wouldn't have learned them in the same way, or I think wouldn't have affected you.
Oh my goodness, there you go, there's your TED Talk. Thank you very much, Maya. It's been a pleasure having you here. Welcome to the family. And we're looking forward to seeing many more of your projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.